I'm having a whole bunch of nightmares about the Icon of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's largest cruise ship in the world. And I'm going to tell you why. And that's what's next. Oh, yeah. Since it has come out the last couple of weeks, it really has built and nestled and parked inside of my brain. I have been thinking about this ship. And if you haven't seen my video about the 10 things I'm dreaming about, go check that out. And then you can come back to this video where I tell you all the nightmares I see possible and the nightmares I'm having about this cruise ship. Yes, it's the largest in the world, and that is epic. But there's a negative side to that that kind of plays into my head. 7,000 plus passengers, 2,500 to 3,000 crew members for a grand total of 9,950 people on one cruise ship. It's a lot of people. But a lot of these first cruises were special cruises for influencers and YouTubers and journalists, stuff like that. And most of these people have said it's only been like half capacity, 4,000, maybe 4,500 people, not the 7,000 maxed out. They're going to reach that capacity very soon on some of these cruises. If you're not into massive crowds, waiting in lines, and all this other fun jazz, maybe you do pick another cruise ship until this has mellowed out, or maybe they've put out a few more of these. While I'm not complaining and hating on kids, you know what I mean, where sometimes it's nice to be an adult. And 7,000 passengers means probably half of them are going to be children. That's going to be mind-bogglingly loud. And at times that can be frustrating. Or maybe you love every single kid and this will be an absolute blessing for you. Now we're going to get into the really big nightmare and why I'm really confused on even if I care about cruising on this ship. Because right now, as they are coming out with this largest cruise ship in the world, and since it is the largest, I have been on cruises 7 days Norwegian for say $1,500 a person, or even as low as $600 or $700 a person. This cruise is most of the time for an interior room, not even a balcony, is running $3,000 per person and up. The actual price of this cruise, when I've totaled it up on a couple this summer, were upwards of $9,000 to $10,000. See, it got me all choked up. $9,000 to $10,000. I'm sorry, if you call me and say I have $10,000 to spend on a cruise and I have unlimited amount of time, I'm going to send you probably on 4 different cruises for a month. We are going on multiple cruises coming up, including Alaska, including the ABC Islands. And with both of those combined, I am not nearly getting to $10,000. So just the price up front is kind of the beginning of the nightmare, but the nightmare gets worse. Chelsea and I are trying to travel to all these different places on the planet that cruises travel to. And being that this is the largest cruise ship in the world, it's not going to be able to get into a lot of ports. There's only certain ports that can take the Oasis class and now the Icon class. I think that's another reason why other cruise lines like NCL with Viva and Prima are keeping their ships to a certain size because they want to be able to go to more ports. Also, being that it's 7,000 passengers on board, can the port handle that many passengers? So say that ship ports next to 2 other ships in a port with 3,000 or 4,000 passengers apiece. You're talking about 12,000 to 15,000 people hitting that city all at the same time. Can that touristy area, or can that city, or can those excursion companies even handle that amount of people? This is a nightmare for me, because if it's just a cruise on the ship and I only care about the ship and not the ports, then that's fine. But if I care about where it's going and that's part of the adventure, this ship's not going to really give me a lot of options. This is kind of the same issue I have with Virgin Voyages, being that they only have 3 ships. You don't have a lot of destinations and a lot of choices. While we loved our Virgin Voyage, we're waiting for them to get new itineraries that we can go on before going on the same ship again. So you tell me, is largest better when you can go to less places? I'm having a reoccurring nightmare. Now, granted, we just talked about the fact that it's the most expensive of the mainline cruises right now, but Royal. But then I'm starting to find out there's also sneaky little nightmares included with it. Like, it has an infinity pool on the back of the ship, and on the back of the ship, 2 or 3 little loungers on it, those are up charges. They're going to charge you upwards of $200 to $300 per day to sit on that bed. So if you are at the affinity pool at the back of the ship, but you go to the restaurant that's right there, because that's the easiest one to go to, and this ship's 1,000 feet long, and you don't want to walk all the way to the other side to get some chicken nuggets for your kid that's running around like he's crazy. Nope, those chicken nuggets are upcharged. Also found out that the shakes, they can be charged up to $18 for it. Pretty much if you're making a reservation for something on this ship, it's an upcharge. Don't start nickel and diming me. I am totally dreaming about doing a Crown's Edge. If you don't know what that is when you're harnessed up and you walk across this platform, and then you get to the edge of a platform and it drops out and you swing over the water off the side of the ship. Amazing! Is $90 per person for about, what, 10 minutes of your time at max. Upcharge. Know that on this cruise ship, for all those kids you bring along with you, you're going to send them to the arcades, and every one of those are upcharged. Every one of those are charged to your bill at the end of it. And supposedly they have the best restaurant called the Supper Club or something like that. This is a 2.5 hour, 8-course meal where there's like live performers and stuff going on. This sounds pretty cool for a date night since it's just me and Chelsea. And then it's $200 per person, not including taxes and gratuities. And they say it gets upwards of almost $300 per person. It'll cost you somewhere between $500 and $600 for a couple. I just spent $10,000 on a cruise. All I can think about is, doesn't that food come from the same galley downstairs that all the other food on this ship comes from? Stop nickeling and diming, people. Would I want to go on a bunch of cruises versus going on one? And I really can't decide. And I think I'm going to wait to even think about booking this until the prices come down, maybe until the second ship comes out. And that's probably why I made that video about Virgin Voyages. They might just be the only cruise line that's really not nickel and diming people. You tell me in the comment section below, is Icon, at the prices it is right now, is it even worth it? Or would you rather go on multiple cruises? Talk about it more later on the next Detour. Later. I almost tripped over the desk and fell down. Yeah, I almost knocked the camera down too. Jeez.